The government is still paying at least 50% of the fuel subsidy. So says Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, who believes the recent hike in the price of fuel is reasonable given the global increase in fuel costs.
So I just ask the population to be reasonable. Yes, it's something we would rather not have to deal with, but the reality is that the product costs more and the taxpayers are paying a half of the cost and you, the user, are paying the other half. Reasonable.
Dr. Rowley also urged citizens to ignore statements that the price of fuel could have been lower had the Petrotrin refinery still been in operation.
Why is the price skyrocketing in America, which has so many refineries and so much volume of oil being produced in their country? And why are countries that have no refinery not seeing their politicians walking up and down the street organizing their future on gas prices?
Dr. Rowley said government will continue to ensure CNG stays as an alternative source of fuel, but said the major investments will be in hybrid and electric vehicles.
And CNG converters are bracing for an increase in CNG usage and an uptake of motorists converting to compressed natural gas. This, according to Acting President of NGC CNG, SHELDON Sylvester, who says the increase came around the time the Prime Minister announced government's intention to reduce the fuel subsidy. In the last 2 months, he says the sale of CNG at the pumps have reached a record high and expects that to continue.
Over the last, maybe the last 3 weeks or so, the volume of CNG actually sold between March and April has actually been the highest ever on a monthly basis from month on month. So certainly we expect that to continue, not only in terms of existing usage, but certainly in terms of additional conversions and purchases of actual CNG vehicles.
Mr. Sylvester, who is also the Chief Financial Officer of Trinidad and Tobago National Gas Limited, says they would be able to absorb any increase in conversions at this time.
Right now, from a CNG perspective, the installed capacity is actually 50%. The installed capacity that is actually used is only about 50%. So any uptick in usage, it can well be covered by the existing infrastructure. So we don't expect to have any situation of lower supply based on the increased usage or increased conversions and so on. So we are in a position where we are perfectly positioned actually to take on additional usage.